Hello, Big Show nerds! Thank you for joining us once again for your Nerd News headlines. My name is Dustin, and let's get into the news. So let's jump right into TV news because we actually have quite a bit of news to cover and I don't want to waste any more breath. So first on the list we have the Dark Tower series. It's going to be finding its way up on Amazon Prime. It seems that the reason we won't be getting Michael Rooker as King Shark is because we are getting Michael Rooker in Dark Tower. He took to his personal website to break the news that he is going to be in the series, though he did not disclose which role he was going to be playing in the series. That's pretty cool, though. The more I hear about the Amazon original stuff that's coming out very soon, the more I'm excited that I already have an Amazon Prime membership. Next on the docket for TV news is an update about the X-Men the Animated Series. And no, you're not flashing back to the 90s. This is a legitimate continuation, potentially, of the animated series that we got back in the 90s. The original team who was in charge of doing that series, they're gearing up to pitch the idea of rebooting or actually continuing the series from back in the day. And a real quick refresher for anyone who hasn't recently watched that series, but it's well past spoiler territory. It ended with a very wounded Professor Xavier going to the Shi'ar Empire with Lilandra to somehow fix his wounds. I believe it was something that was mortally valid, if I'm remembering that correctly, but either way, the potential for a continuation of that original animated series is super exciting. If it happens, they are trying to get it to happen on the Disney Plus streaming app. Next, in continuing great series, this one's not an old series that's getting continued. This one is a series we got last year on Netflix. Well, actually, just a couple of months ago on Netflix. The Love, Death, and Robots series just got picked up for a second season, and this season is going to see Jennifer Yu Nelson at the director's chair in charge of the overall direction of all of the shorts, much like David Fincher did for season 1. So, if you are a fan of science fiction, CGI animation, and or anything in between, then definitely you should be excited about this news as well. Quickie news update, since the series starts tomorrow as you're watching this, if you're watching this on the day it gets up. We just got our final promos for Season 2 of Krypton, which feature Lobo. And again, just a real quick update. They're definitely fun to watch. They're up on YouTube. You can go check them out. And I'm super excited about the second season. Our final update for this episode in TV news is Dune Sisterhood. In order to capitalize on what Warner Brothers foresees as being a very well-received movie, the Denis Villeneuve Dune movie is getting a spin-off series on the forthcoming WB streaming app that has yet to get a release date or any other real hard factual announcements. But we do know that they are planning on doing a Dune series based on the Bene Gesserit, who, if you're unfamiliar with the series, is a collection of strong female characters, a collection of women that kind of sort of run the galaxy in the Dune series. So that's really, really awesome. No specifics as to the content of the series. We do know that Denis Villeneuve is signed on to direct the pilot episode, and again, Denis is the one that is doing the movie. He's not only directing the movie, but he also wrote and is producing the movie. This was a little bit gray. There was a little bit gray area, but it looks like Denis Villeneuve is also going to be an executive producer on the series, so that's also pretty freaking awesome. The content is kind of marred in mystery at this point, though there is a whole book in the Dune series called The Sisterhood of Dune that directly deals with this content, so it's very likely that we're going to see that, though again, nothing has been confirmed officially just yet. Now let's switch gears over to movie news, and the first thing in movie news, if you were super excited about Godzilla King of the Monsters, then you should also know that the next movie they are planning is Godzilla vs. King Kong. Well, Warner Brothers studio chairman Toby Emmerich recently said in an interview that they are aiming for a late 2020 release of the movie, which seems really soon considering how much special effects and such has to go into making these movies. One can't help but think maybe that's a little bit of a rush. But then, right before going to film today, there was another update that it looks like it is going to be postponed a little bit longer, though how much longer was not stated. Our next piece is going to be very divisive amongst the horror movie fans. Rob Zombie just dropped his first official teaser trailer for his newest movie, 3 from Hell. This is the third in the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy. The Firefly Family trilogy, I believe, is what some of the fans are referring to it as. And if you're a fan of zombies version of the horror genre, then you should definitely be excited. But again, get ready to take sides, horror fans, because this one looks like it is going to be very, very divisive in the genre. Next is actually an update from MTV News, because apparently that's still a thing. Mindy Kaling sat down for an interview with them, and in this interview, she said that she has been talking with Marvel about the Miss Marvel property. Now, it's still uncertain specifically if it is going to be a movie or a series, though she did mention the possibility for both. All we can say for certain right now is that it is going to happen in some form, and just a matter of when and how still remains to be cemented. And then our last piece of movie news actually comes from Quentin Tarantino. Not the Star Trek update that we're all hoping for. Everyone is waiting with anticipation very, very, very calmly. No, not really. No, it is not the Star Trek update, though we do know that a script does actually exist for the Star Trek movie. That's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is an adaptation of Quentin Tarantino's comic book. The Dynamite comic book that he did with Matt Wagner, that is the continuation of the Django Unchained story. You know, the one where it's Django and Zorro. Yeah, Tarantino is looking to make this into a movie, according to Collider. Where in the comics, Tarantino brought in Matt Wagner to help him flesh out the details of his idea. For the movie, he's going to bring in Jared Carmichael to flesh out the details of how the movie should work. So it doesn't sound like Tarantino's going to be directing the movie if it does actually make it to theaters, but it's still pretty exciting that we're going to get another Quentin Tarantino movie in our lifetimes. And that, nerds, is the end of your Nerd News Headlines episode for today. What did I miss? Let's talk about it down in the comments section. Don't forget, though, for a more detailed conversation on these nerdy bits plus much, much more in the nerd world, then you can join me on my personal YouTube channel, Generally Nerdy. But since you're here, also don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all of the Big Show entertainment media platforms, and tune in next time for all that is happening across the nerd world.